Your company currently has a 401k plan or is thinking about putting one in place. And with that comes great responsibility. The Department of Labor provides guidelines, broad guidelines, in which you should monitor the performance of your plan. And they have some items that they're concerned about. Jay, what are some of the items that the Department of Labor is worried about when it comes to plan sponsors?
Well, Dave, one of the first things the Department of Labor is concerned about has to do with expenses. And the reason is that generally your employees, also known as participants, they're the ones that are responsible for paying these expenses. And so the Department of Labor wants to ensure that you, as the plan sponsor, understand what those expenses are. Those plan expenses should be benchmarked so to ensure that they're not too much. But one thing the Department of Labor does not do is they don't say, hey, you've got to have the cheapest expenses. They just want to know you have a process for monitoring those expenses. A second aspect of the expenses is the Department of Labor wants to make sure you understand what services are being provided for those expenses. So each one of the providers to the plan should have written down for you specifically the services that they're offering. But in addition to expenses, Dave, what would be another area the Department of Labor would want you to monitor?
Well, the investment performance is very important when it comes to plan management. And the Department of Labor wants to make sure, again, that you have a process in place and it's written down the way you are evaluating the performance and expenses of the individual funds. And the important thing is once you make fund changes or recommendations, you need to have that documented in your file. So, Jay, what else is there in regards to monitoring the plan?
So the key thing, Dave, in monitoring the plan is that there's a process in place. I think that's the most important thing. And a best practice is, at a minimum, you're talking to your plan advisor once a year. Preferably, it would be at least twice a year. And one of the most common misperceptions that we see out there, and we hear from plan sponsors, is, "Hey, everything's working great. I don't hear from the employees about the plan, so it must be working well." And really and truly, nothing can be further from the truth. We have a saying around here, and it goes like this: there's not a problem until there's a problem. And so it's a lot like going to the doctor. Most people go to the doctor at least once a year to get an annual checkup. Why? Because they'd like to check out themselves before they have a heart attack, let's say, or have something serious. They'd like to learn that before it actually happens. Same thing is true in your 401k plan. So just because you're not hearing about it doesn't mean you shouldn't be monitoring the expenses, the performance, etc. Thanks, and we'll see you next time.